representing France, 15-year-old Lena MALIQUEO and 16-year-old Illia SYNELNIKOV. This is their first junior Grand Prix event, which many of the teams are. So experience being gained right here, right now. Skating to Andy and c'est vraiment toi.
Year-old Lena MALIQUEO and 16-year-old Illia SYNELNIKOV from France, and a team, as you said, first Junior Grand Prix, first experience on the Junior Grand Prix, and you can see they've done well to prepare themselves and ready themselves with their 1980s rhythm dance to very unique French music.
Yeah, we had talked about that. We used to North American 1980s themes. That well, what happens when you hear a song? The judges hear a song from the 1980s from a different country they never heard of before.
Yeah,
and we just did.
Absolutely, and it had that 80s essence, and I thought there was a wonderful part in the non-touch where you saw skaters looking like they really embraced the 80s vibe, and here the rocker foxtrot, and you can see with this team still just refining their own individual skating skills, still developing as a team, so different angles of stroke as yet that will develop over time. And they train with Karine Haribert and their coach here, Michiel Chantelaus, and they've got such good coaches that I'm sure that as we see them progress towards next season, the quality of their skating skills will continue to develop.
Yeah, it's still early in the development. You can see even the turnout of the knee and the swizzle.
Yeah.
Not swizzles. Twizzles was maybe not at the degree that needed to be, but. And there, the look just.
No, this is the bit I liked. Look at that commitment. They're living their best lives. Go on. Love it. And that's what judges are trying to reward as much as possible that essence of 80s, and that non-touch, they covered the full width of the rink, both towards the judges and away from the judges. So simple steps, but using that simplicity to try to push the presentation and the composition and the skating skills as well.
It's such a fine balance for the coach to understand the level of skating that your team is at and their ability with the technical elements, and then give them a piece of music that now you're going to ask them to actually perform. So you don't want one to overdo the other. They need to have a nice mix, and many of the teams are still in development stages. You can't get that piece of music that will really take them to the top. We'll see that on the next team. You're going to see a completely different level, right? And
you sense, for the coaches and the choreographers, they have to give a piece that challenges but doesn't overpower. And I sense for this team, the choreography given to them is to facilitate their first junior season together. And this experience here, especially with coaches that are as educated as theirs, is very much about the experience in the learning ground.
Well, I think this was smart. I think this was a really good choice of music. They had fun, and they were committed, as you said. They were convincing, particularly in the steps there. So I think this was a good match for the level of skating that they're currently at. Next year, maybe not. Maybe they need something, bigger and better. I don't know.
And maybe choosing music that is unlikely. Also, we've got to admire them for choosing something that is unlikely to be taken by anybody else. They're not going to find themselves
that's right.
using something that everybody else is using, and there'd be a direct comparison with them in their first year to a seasoned team like Grimm and Savitsky or one of the other more campaigned ice dance teams.
Yeah, and this was really a good example. I talked about this at the beginning of the season. I'm going, well, what happens when you get a piece from Germany that's from the 1980s? Nobody would have ever heard of it.
Yeah.
Right? So, except for the Germans, of course. Let's take a look at the rhythm dance scores. For Lena and Illia, 39.49, and that'll put them currently into 4th place.
Great to see the understanding of that score. They appreciate what that is.
Absolutely. Experience gain. You got to get here, get on the ice, compete.